I've always said, when the wisdom of elders meets with the strength of the youth, miracle will happen. So for us, what we have leveraged on at the Gtext Holdings level is the wisdom of elders like him.
Thank you very much, sir. So we'll take questions in multiple points. We have
there are more hands at the back as well.
there are hands here too. Okay, so from that end, please can we have you, your name, your platform, and your question?
Good morning, everybody. Once again, my name is Ben Kamala. I work for the Nation. Mr. Chairman, you said earlier on that one of the things you are working on, working on is to build 25,000 houses, 200 estates across Africa. What's the timeline for that, and which year do you intend to achieve that target? And secondly, from all of your philanthropic gestures, to what end is all this? I mean, aside the fact that your Gtext is making funds and all that, to what end is this? Because quite a lot of people will say it's probably still looking to go into politics.
Yeah.
So to what end is all this?
I know that's the question you want to ask. You know. Well, so let me start by saying that 25,000 houses and the 200 estates is called the Vision 2035. So our goal is that by the year 2035, we want to control that number of projects. Of course, our estimation is that that should be about $20 billion, when completed by 2035. Internationally, the goal is also to control another set of houses worth $20 billion. You are aware of what we are doing in Houston in terms of our estates, and they're all green and smart. So we're conscious of climate, renewable energy, and what we realize in recent times is that it's been very difficult to fund housing projects in Nigeria because of the fall in the naira versus dollar, the increase in cost of construction. So what we've done is to move at our pace in Nigeria when it comes to building houses, but to acquire more lands. So now we're opening, in fact we're doing pre-launch for our Aba and Enugu, Owerri and Enugu estates in the east. We're launching Kaduna very soon. So for us is that if it's difficult to grow building houses the way you would have wanted, because the challenge we face is when you tell a customer, give me 150 million, I'll give you 5 bedroom. In a space of 6 months or 12 months, you need 250 million to finish that say 5 bedroom. Now you become like you don't keep your words. Then they start chasing with EFCC, who has no business with civil matter, right? But yet they will start meddling in, affairs that. And so Nigeria, like I said, the government institution has become a major frustrating block in growing businesses in Africa, right? Will EFCC say they do not know that the cost of building a house has increased in recent times? So if somebody comes and reports and say, I paid for this house and they didn't complete it, is it not common sense to say, but we all know what has happened? What did they tell you? Oh, they asked me to pay more money. Well, do you want to take more money, or do you want to get your money back? If they're not giving you your money back, take them to court, right? It's a civil issue, right? So we're finding that a bit difficult, but what we have noticed that some people who understand that situation are still going ahead to do business. They're still paying us for houses, and we're still building houses, but at a slower pace. However, what we've decided to do is keep expanding the land, right? And we buy more land, we fence it round, we provide security on ground. Those who also bought the land, who can afford to start building their house, they build, they start living there. And that's what we're doing. However, internationally, we're now expanding houses. We have in Valdosta 20 units of a 3-bedroom townhouse we're selling at the moment. We have a couple in Alabama. We did fix and flip. In Houston, we launched last 2 Saturdays a 21-acre land where we're going to be building 60 units of single-family home, ranging from $600,000 to $1 million for each of them. And our vision is that we want to aggressively expand in the US, in Canada, in the next 5 to 10 years, and then be able to repatriate some of our profits back to Nigeria to now be able to accelerate building more houses. So at that point, it's our US corporation that is loaning the Nigerian corporation to build houses. And at that point, we use our money to build. Well, if you can afford, you buy. If you can't afford, we're not in a hurry, right? And we can sell at our pace. Because we realize that it's easy to access funding in America than in Nigeria. For example, all the expansion we're doing now, in fact, I was called by our finance consultant last night that we just got approval for $9 million for the Houston one we launched 2 weeks ago, right? So it's a lot easier to get funding in America than in Nigeria. So our goal is we're able to use this free funding that is available. It's not free, it comes with a loan, but it's flexible. As you know, I think you're looking at between 8% to 11% interest rate. But over time, we're able to then use some of our profit, bring it back to Nigeria, and then accelerate the construction of houses in Nigeria. But as to regard to why are we doing charity? Well, 16 years ago, I was a student on campus, about to graduate. Obviously, I couldn't have been having ambition to join politics. And if I have, I think 16 years is enough to have joined politics. And I don't think my fame as of today, well, with over 2 million followers on social media alone, I think I'm famous enough to do politics if I want to. For me, I think that the reason why our political landscape is shallow is because everybody rushed into politics without building capacity. Right? Because if you get there, these things are not easy. It's easier said than done. Right? Even those of us in private sector, we know what we're going through. We know how difficult it is, and it still is, expanding your business. So you've never done anything in your private life, and then you just want to jump into public life. And you think that is that easy? Is the reason why our public institutions are weak. Because people rush into our public institution to lead them without having any capacity. I've said it over and over again, and I will keep repeating it. If a man has a farm, right? He has a farm, and that farm did not expand in how many years that he left power as a military person, and then comes back and say we fight corruption, he's as righteous as anybody else, and then you expect him to do magic in 8 years. We all know how it ended, right? So my own argument is we need to focus on building capacity as young people. Not everybody run into politics up and down, politician, honorable what? Build what into your name, add value, right? We need to raise men like institutions, right? And that's really how to change this, because ultimately, those who will really hold government accountable is not the rich. Anywhere in the world, go and check it. And it's also not the poor. Anywhere in the world, go and check it. It's the middle class. Who creates the middle class? It's the rich. Right? Henry Ford, John D. Rockefeller, J.P. Morgan, Andrew Carnegie in America were the people who created America middle class. And it was that middle class that really now held the politicians, right, and even the rich as well, accountable. So, but in Africa, we don't even have a middle class. And then we want a perfect political system. We keep talking. It won't happen. Because the middle class is neither poor nor rich, right, but well educated. right? And of course very much opinionated, and they are the ones who really, and they are large as well. Once you build that heavy large middle class, you will see Africa change. So for me, I want to focus on that. I think that's really not whether you're joining politics, and if you join politics now, there's limit to what value you can really add, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, thank you very much. So we'll take questions in multiple so that we can, answer them all. Okay, so we have one question, Mr. Funshaw, please. We have it, sir.
Good afternoon, once again. Funshaw. I will say that I want to congratulate you.
Thank you.
For joining so far, because I might not be part of it, but I think I understand your trajectory to this group. And I'll say you've really done well.
Thank you, sir.
Let me quickly jump to the issue of your face and then Gtext. Please, I need to maybe take it easy with us by bringing your face to Gtext. It's very, very difficult to divorce Stephen Akintayo and Gtext Holdings. Even your contemporaries, I'm talking of the Dangotes of this world, you can't write about them and not bring your face. It's just, you can't separate it. So you need to pardon us for bringing your face to Gtext. Then secondly, let me ask, the baby foundation of Gtext Holdings is a bulk purchasing business. What happens to that sector as we speak?
Okay.
If you move out of the so-called telecom, and all, are we likely to see Gtext Holdings in that space? Then secondly, question, you right said there's no middle class in Nigeria, right? So it's either you're rich or you're poor. One of those key problems that mankind has is shelter. An average will need shelter, both the rich and the poor. But who handles the problem of the poor? Whereby we're talking about affordable homes. Are you not looking at, I know that the affordable homes of mass, what they call the mass
housing schemes,
more government priorities. But at the same time, I believe there should be a symbiotic relationship between the real estate moguls and then maybe the local councils and all this stuff. Are you looking at also doing something, given your interest in poor, based on what you've been doing by the foundation, about doing something affordable, maybe at a small scale levels, at least to also lift some people out of that burden of that shelter thing.
Thank you, Mr. Funshaw. Can we have another question? Is there another question from that angle? Two.
Yeah, 2 questions.
Wow. Okay. Please let's make it short and precise.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Juliet.
All right.
So my question is, you mentioned earlier that it's easier to get from the United States than it is here in Nigeria. So do you think funding is a limiting factor against the growth of real estate in Nigeria? Is it one of the issues? So then my second question is regarding it's more from the lighter bit. Do you have activities or events lined up to celebrate?
Okay. Okay. Do we have any more?
Yes, sure.
Wow.
I'm talking about. So my question is, as a real estate expert, ahead of May 29 Democracy Day, your assessment of the current administration, especially in terms of economic reforms, and your expectations going forward?
Okay. Do we have questions? Okay.
That's a political question.
Okay, so let's take these questions and then we'll come to this side. And okay, Dr. Stephen, you have the floor again.
Okay.
So we have the question on the bulk SMS. Are you planning to go back to that? We have the question on the housing schemes for the poor.
Yeah, so it started with separating my name and the company, right? So so again, I'm not against being identified with the company. I mean, it's something we've built over the years, and we're proud of where we are. What we're just saying is that, one, you cannot carry information that cannot be verified. There's a reason why, and I think in fairness to me and Gtext, well, my media aide is somebody you all know, right? So before you carry somebody, you can even reach out to her and say, we heard this story.
And I'm very available.
Right? Exactly, and say, we heard this story. Can you, at least let's hear the company's version, right? Then you then go carry what hasn't been verified, and then you put my face on top. That's personal, right? I don't think that is right. I mean, if it's some good news and you put my face, I don't mind. Okay, but unverified, information, I don't think. I think it's fair to even put the company logo. There's difference between me and the company. And then you think the company has one issue. I mean, it's normal to business. Businesses have issues, right? You can't grow at the level we are now, and there are no issues. Normal. But to put it on, particularly because I, on the other hand, have other things I do with my personal name, right? You can say, okay, Tony or Dangote. I mean, they are not into public speaking. Right, they are not invited internationally to do core public speaking, of mentoring people, of teaching people. It's part of what I do, right? Also, I also do business, international. I'm opening a lot of doors internationally that really, sectors that really you hardly find Nigerians there, and they will do background check, right? They don't know whether these things that has been written were facts or fiction. They will read it up. Then you now start explaining, and then shalaye what, and they don't even. It's difficult for them to just understand it, because you can't do such publication in America and you will not be sued, right? And you will not be in trouble if they win. In fact, the entire media house can be shut down because of the liabilities that come from it. So they don't know that Nigeria is different. That people can just bully you on social media and even accuse you of what they don't have evidence about. So please, again, it's an appeal to say, let's separate the two persons, right? Whatever is Gtext, let's call Gtext. It's grown on its own. It has its own reputation. It has a whole board of advisors. It has its own team of people who work there. Over 300 employees, direct and indirect, over 15,000 marketers who sell for us all over the world. I mean, at that level, I think it's a grown entity. Even a 16-year-old child, I think, is grown, right? So, to the question of bulk SMS, I would say bulk SMS and tech, right? So, we were wise to have seen the future of bulk SMS 2015, and 2015 was one of our biggest years. We became a household name consulting for big multinationals, but we saw the future. We saw that the future wasn't strong, and I'm grateful to God that we were smart to have expanded into real estate. It was 2015 we expanded to real estate, because what then happened is, I think 2 years later there's a law that came in, anti-spam law or something. Right, and so what that did was that you no longer can just send bulk SMS in bulk like we used to do, and so that affected that. Now, other tech businesses as well, we all know what has happened to a lot of tech companies, from even e-commerce to a lot of them struggled on issue of funding. It's still the same funding issue, right? And so what Gtext decided to do was to say, we are still a tech company, because ultimately you can't build a smart home without technology, right? So, but let's have a strong financial base so that as we now go back to tech, we can sustain it. It's not as if we will have worked so hard, somebody will just buy us out. And because we don't have emotional sentiment attached, when we go and start a new one, like many of the guys they bought out, how many of the new companies they started grew like the first one that they were running before they were bought out? But there's also that place of hunger to building a business, right? And at some point, even though the business is big, that hunger and that emotion and sentiment is there, that we work so hard for this, and you want to keep seeing that organization keep growing. So yes, we are back in tech. A lot of softwares are in the pipeline, in terms of technology. Is also even digital marketing. We are back, but we're just subtle. So a lot of very powerful people in this country are handling their social media brand behind the scene. Many of them, of course, I didn't charge them for it. It's a trade by barter in exchange for access to them as well, to pick their wisdom and to learn from them. But I think we're back, and very soon you'll be seeing a lot more. So, for example, our digital marketing is evolving into what we call a new company called the Stephen Akita Production. Right, so we're going to be involved in movies. So in the next 2 years, watch out for our movies, watch out for a documentary, that will start coming out and all that. And of course, we'll use tech and social media to drive that. I hope I've answered that. Low-cost housing, I've answered that several times, that for you to do effectively low-cost housing, you have to follow what works. So how do they do low-cost housing in the UK, for example? A private real estate developer goes ahead and build an estate or a housing unit, okay? And then the government we call them council flat, and then pay to get it subsidized, right? In some other parts of the world, like even in Rwanda, I think they do that as well. The government will give a private developer land, okay, and so that already reduce the cost of building the house. Am I making sense at all? Also give the developer some measure of off-taking, right? So some funding as well, and then he brings the remaining part of the money. And at that point, the house can be cheap because he got the land free. Some cash was also given. And Gtext is very much open to that, not just with the federal government. I've said it, if President Tinubu wants 10 million housing for Nigerians in 4 years, I can deliver it. Right? Take it to him.
Okay.
Right? I can deliver it. Right? Whether international guys we need to bring in, just give me land. Right? I mean, see what's happening with the coastal, Lekki Coastal Road. Do the same JV with us and see what will happen. Whether we will not literally build houses in millions. All this insecurity we keep talking about are largely because of the fact that our forests are left unguarded. Nothing has been done. I've said it before, I think on Channels Television, give me Sambisa Forest and I'll build skyscrapers there. Dubai has done it. You saw what the miracle we did in Dubai in terms of our expansion in Dubai. In 1 year, we became the largest black-owned brokerage firm in Dubai. And we've learned a few things as to how to do real estate, in those parts of the world. And if you bring in development to these areas, some of these terrorists will even beat the workers on site. Right, and turn things around. So there are people who can do that. And by the way, that's now the type of politics I'm interested in. Let's build houses for our people. But yes, that's how to then do low cost housing. I mean, you have EFCC, you have police. Baba will probably talk about how he influenced the police starting estates, right? We have all these government agencies, we have customs. We can build houses for them and make it affordable. All of them have lands all over the country that they can partner with us to build houses and make it affordable. They give us the land, drop some little capital as well, and then we will do something affordable.
Can we tie to the question on the assessment of the current administration, if you have been able to answer that question?
Well, I did a podcast already on the current administration. My argument is that there's a need to rejig the system. Some ministers are performing. We all talked about the Minister of Interior. See what's happening with passports ahead now. There will be 48-hour visas and a lot of, so we can see those perform. Even the CBN governor is doing a great job, I mean, compared to where we were coming from, right? So we've seen a few agencies of government under the administration doing exceptionally well, and we've seen some that have gone to sleep. And we think that the president definitely needs to get some people to do that. But overall, I think that the president meant well. I think he's sincere. I've seen certain decisions that shows that he's sincere and really wanting to change this nation. After all, what does he have to lose? You know, he's at a phase of his life that what is left is posterity